Welcome to our new Vinyl City Broadcasting podcast show, Rock and Roll at Your Fingertips. I'm Marie, your VCB host. Today I'm filling in for Firebird Bill, our regular VCB podcast host. This podcast is coming to you from our underground location in the city. Why don't we all go down to the studio? This is our third podcast, and we're going back to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania's Hill District, where many aspiring Project Delling doo-wop groups were vocalizing their talents out on the street corners. One of those street corner warblers was a new quintet consisting of Michael Tolliver, his brother Ricky, Arthur Dixon, Freddie McRae, and Frank Hill. The fivesome began billing themselves as the Capitals. Frank later went into the military and was replaced by Doris Spiky Goines. A female voice seemed to be a perfect match for the group. Michael Mickey Tolliver and Spiky shared the lead and second tenor parts. Ricky Tolliver was baritone, Arthur Dixon was first tenor, and Freddie McRae was the bass. They were doing gigs for all of Pittsburgh's recording spinners as they rose to their successful recordings, including Rosemarie and Millie. At the peak of their success, they also performed at the Apollo Theater. The group went through some changes in later years. Mickey went into the military, and Spiky became the main lead of the group. Added to the group were three new members, with Eddie Hicks, second tenor and bass, Clarence Hurd, first tenor, and George Taliaferro, second tenor and bass, who recorded Day by Day, Little Things, Man Across the Hill, and Just the Way You Are. They remained together until their breakup in 1965. Now let's fast forward. Rico met Ricky on Facebook about 15 years ago and invited him out to San Diego. You see, Dora Spiky Hall was now living and performing in San Diego, and the doo-wop connection was about to take place. Ricky gathered all of the previous members. Some had not seen each other in over 40 years, and he added a first tenor named Calvin Moore. The Capitals were about to embark on their mission to transfer yesterday's sound to today's. This was, as we remember, in 2007. Rico wanted to do something special for Ricky and the Capitals, so he contacted Larry Himmel at Channel 8, a local television station. He asked Larry if he wanted to interview the Capitals. Larry said, "Sure, I'm a big doo-wop fan." Rico set up the appointment to meet at a local music studio for the interview. He also got an interview at Jazz 88 Radio and a couple of venues where they could perform. Group harmony was happening in San Diego. We're now going to have Rico play the interview that Larry Himmel did with the Capitals. So sit back and enjoy.
I'm Larry Himmel. It's the sound that was born on street corners throughout America, and it still resonates today in San Diego. Meet a group that's been together 50 years, and you'll hear them sing. Coming up right here on News 8.
The pictures, the stories, your world. This is News 8 at 5.
Tonight, Larry Himmel brings us a story that begins on a street corner in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
And it continues 50 years later right here in San Diego.
With the strings of my heart. It was a sound born in churches that resonated on the street corners of the city, a cappella harmonizing known as doo-wop. In 1954, a group of teenagers started vocalizing on the streets of Pittsburgh's Homewood district. They called themselves the Capitals, and in 1957, the Capitals recorded an up-tempo doo-wop called Rosemarie. The song went straight to the top of the Pittsburgh charts.
We did shows.
Yeah, we did shows, but they were all very local shows, although we did sing in Apollo a couple times, too.
I guess I always will. The group featured 13-year-old Mickey Tolliver on vocals.
The first time he went out of the stage door and the young ladies were out there and mobbed him. You've never seen such a scared little rabbit. Look at his eyes.
The Capitals stayed together until their farewell performance in 1965. 4 years later, Dora Hall moved here and began singing with various vocal groups around town. Last week in San Diego, the group reunited for the first time in over 40 years.
We didn't have to re-rehearse or do any of that kind of stuff. We just come and sang, and it just fell into place.
The reunion was to celebrate their 50th anniversary and their new disc.
It's a 50th anniversary disc with songs that we sang back in the day, plus the original songs that we recorded.
Man, oh man,
The Capitals never enjoyed nationwide success or a lucrative career, but they do have something even more valuable, a 50-year friendship forged in four-part harmony. Larry Himmel, News 8.
They still got it.
Beautiful.
Oh.
Gorgeous.
Now that's group harmony at its best. One more Capitals San Diego story. A local jazz singer, Miss Cynthia Hammond, invited the Capitals to a venue where she was performing. At break time, she invited them on stage. They huddled around one mic and looked at each other momentarily. Remember, they hadn't performed with each other in over 40 years. Rico said something magical happened that night for the next few minutes. After their performance, the crowd approached the stage and wanted to purchase a CD. Ricky said to Rico, "Why don't you go out to your car and bring in those demo discs that you had replicated for us?" Rico brought in a box of over 200. Anyway, they gave away the entire box. Then a young lady approached Rico and asked, "Who is this group? I love this music." "You don't hear music like this on the radio anymore or at venues." "I think I was born in the wrong generation." She asked, "Do you think I can hire this group for my wedding reception?" Rico's response, "Check with Ricky." "If you can't make it," Rico told her, "take those memories back with you to Texas and share the CD with your friends. You will have done your part in keeping the music alive." It was a wonderful time with everyone involved in putting that a cappella weekend together. Fond memories we'll always cherish. We were hoping that Ricky T would make a return engagement to San Diego in 2017 to do a VCB interview and to explore new horizons. It would be 10 years later. I even made him a 10th anniversary cake. The pieces, no pun intended, didn't come together for all of us, but we were able to do a selfie interview with him. There's chatter out in VCB land that Rico can get Ricky out to San Diego after this COVID epidemic is over, so we can munch on a new anniversary cake. If you can't make it, Ricky, I'll bake you another cake, and we'll have Amazon drop it off in your backyard with one of their drones. As you're lying next to your pool watching the little duckies run around your backyard, inside joke. Before we close, we want to thank everyone for tuning into our third Vinyl City Broadcasting YouTube podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll be posting another podcast shortly, So subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of them. Instead of me closing out the show, we're going to zoom into Heath, Texas. There we have the lead singer of the Capitals, Mr. Ricky Tolliver, aka Ricky T, who will close out the show. You have the stage, Ricky.
Wow. It was really nice to see the podcast and to relive our past. And then I want to applaud VCB and its staff for keeping our beautiful music alive. Now, this reminds me of the fun we always had entertaining our audiences and peers, which began at the high school level. There were some students who were well-known singers, and they would assemble in 2 or 3 groups on the school grounds after school. And as high school students, many of us couldn't wait for that final bell to ring, and we would hustle out of school to join one of those groups. I didn't always sing with the same group, but I was summoned because I could sing both tenor and baritone parts. These random groups battled daily while singing the songs of the most popular groups on the radio before going home. Now at home, we had established our own groups, and we battled other known groups on the street corners, under the street lights, and at talent shows. We sang a cappella, and our harmony was fantastic. Plus, we were the first group in Pittsburgh to have a girl in our group, just like the Platters. We also performed songs sung by the Teenagers, Dells, Spaniels, Flamingos, and Coasters, to name a few. Today, you can still hear music from our era on many radio stations across the country, as well as on TV commercials, and of course at doo-wop concerts. In Texas, we have a local high school radio station that plays 50s and 60s music daily. Now, we appreciate whatever media or venue there is that will promote our music to this day, and will continue to do so for years to come. Remember, all of you out there in VCB land, we're right at your fingertips. Point, click, and go.
Run,